All right, let's get on with tonight. I'm so excited to welcome back a great friend of mine, somebody to get us all jazzed up, right? But tonight we are diving into grassroots change, everyone. We're going to welcome back my friend Dana Brunn from the Mountain Patriots and the Wake Up Winchester project. Dana has been on the front lines, and I mean this for years, guys, for the last 4 years and counting at least, transforming his county, proving that real change starts with passionate individuals willing to take action. He and his members have worked tirelessly, I cannot talk tonight, tirelessly, to protect and strengthen their community, ensuring a better future for generations to come. So you guys, I am here because it is so important. If we want to continue to have great change, we have to get active. We have to make a change. We have to support our dear president, but make sure it filters down to our states and community. And I know nobody better that has already done this work and continues to do this work. So everyone, please welcome my dear friend and dear guest, Dana Brunn, to the stage. Hello, hello.
Hello, Lady Hamilton. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Dana. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always great talking to you.
Yes, it is. We can go on for hours, everyone. And, I've been to a couple of his conferences. I tried to, I've had so many guests that work with this project on the show. If you guys don't know, you can see past different episodes because they have been teaching us. I guess it was last year we started this, right? Teaching us all different kinds of manner. But Dana kicked it off with getting us to get active in our communities. And I don't know of a better cheerleader and individual, well, you and your wife in your group now, but I mean, you guys are really hitting the streets and you turned your whole county red, and that is absolutely impressive. So I'm excited that you're going to come here and basically tell us why is it important that we need to continue to do this and how to do this.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I mean, we're trying. The first thing I can tell everybody is this was a God project. This was something that was laid on my heart about 4 years ago. And when we started, it was literally just a few of us that decided to do a neighborhood watch is what it came down to. If something happens in the middle of everything, can we get in touch with each other? Well, then people started bringing people. And from that point on, we ended up in an election. Okay, so it'll be 3 years every Monday night for the last 3 years. We don't miss a Monday night. If it snows, we do a Zoom call, and there's usually anywhere from 20 to 30 of us now from people bringing people. But we ended up in the middle of a lot of races here in Frederick County, and we all know that President Trump. God bless him for all of the slings and arrows and everything that he's taken for us. It's just absolutely amazing. I don't know if I could do what he does in any capacity, but we looked at everything and we were thinking, okay, President Trump is trying to work things from the top down, and he's only one person. He's got a phenomenal cabinet right now, a phenomenal cabinet. We're very in touch with all of that. But we were looking at everything going, well, the school board has bad books in it. Everybody knows that. Okay. The library in
one thing, right?
Pardon me?
I said to mention just one thing that's going wrong with them, but yeah, that's one.
That's just one. That's just one. And then we started having neighbors throw their hat in the ring. This is normal, ordinary, everyday people that have never run for any kind of public office that have finally looked at this and said, I've had it. I've had it with what we're doing. So we had the opportunity a couple of years back to work on different campaigns, okay, which is not originally what we started out doing. It was originally a prep group, which we still do, and a spiritual ministry. And we got together and we started canvassing, and we started going to the FCRC, Frederick County Republican Committee meetings. We were going to Small Business Freedom Alliance. We were going to the Chamber of Commerce. We went anytime there was an open place to go, we went. So we were fortunate, Lady Hamilton, we were fortunate to have some really good candidates. And I will start by saying, if you're going to get involved locally, don't go by, hey, Lady Hamilton, it's election day coming up. Who should I vote for?
Right.
If you have to ask me that, that means that you're not plugged in at all.
Right.
So we have our little clubhouse, and we all meet there, and we had every single candidate come in. Then we did background on all the candidates. We looked at the qualification of all of the candidates. We were able to take over, for lack of better terms, or replace the commissioner of the revenue. Okay.
Right.
Boy, the stories I could tell you that happened there. The clerk of the court. Okay. We took the delegate, which we knew we could do. We took the board of supervisors and the chair. We took over the school board with two people. One guy was from New York, and one guy happens to be a pastor who works at the jail and does. He's a preacher and a pastor for Civil War reenactment. Okay, so who better? So we had people that just stepped up, and we vetted them, and we were able to take, like I was saying, the clerk of court, 3 seats on the board of supervisors, the delegate, the Senate. Let's see, board of supervisors, Senate, school board, commissioner of the revenue, and the clerk. So out of the 11 positions that we were looking at, we were able to help influence not just us, but we just got people rolled into it and got them fired up and took 8 of the 10 or 8 of the 11. And now we have another big election coming up. We have a few more school board openings that are coming up. We have more.
We have our governor's election coming up. Right.
It doesn't stop. It literally doesn't stop.
Dan, I want to back up a little bit here and touch on a few points. So when you say neighbors, because people are like, oh, I don't know my neighbors, I don't talk to my neighbors, you're not talking about people who are physically living right next to you. You're talking about your community. Am I right?
Well, I'm not only talking about my community, but I'm also talking about neighbors, which is pretty neat. Which is pretty neat. I live in a community, and right at the bottom of my community is one of the gentlemen who said, I've had it. His grandson is autistic. And he said, I can't take this. I can't take what they're doing in the schools. There's a lot going on in Frederick County right now when it happens to schools. And he says, I've never done anything like this, and I'm going to run.
Right.
And we backed him all the way.
Exactly. That's awesome.
All the way.
And you know me because of my school and all that I do. It's not even just my state or my town or my community or whatever. And this is why we're talking, everybody, because you are absolutely right. President Trump is doing everything he can on a federal level. Let me continue to say that. Federal level. So if we want to have this trickle down into even our local counties, we have to remain active. We have to make sure. And I don't know what elections you guys got coming up, but I am with Dana here in my state. We've got our school board coming up. We've got our county officials coming up. We've got our attorney general and our governor coming up, this year. Exactly. And so, I mean, even if it's not happening this year, maybe it's happening next year for you, or let's say 2 years with the midterms are coming up, right? But if, we're seeing the fighting coming from all these different governors that just want to reject the things that are happening or take them to court or do whatever they want to do to stop the movement, right? But let's just even focus on schools, like you said. We want to get this madness out of our schools. And if President Trump is giving it back to the states, if you've got some woke, crazy governor that doesn't want anything to do that, like it's like we're seeing in Oregon and California and so forth right now, then what is that going to do? Is there going to be change in your schools? Minus the funding. And Maine right now is like, we don't need your funding. We're just going to stop paying our federal taxes anyway, and we'll just go dedicate to that to our schools. That's how much she's into making sure that she keeps that agenda. I can tell you why they want that agenda. If our kids can't read and continue to be on social media, they can continue to be controlled, right?
Right.
And continue to be the next generation of voters for them. And this is why education of indoctrination. Absolutely right. I mean,
they don't teach anything in school. They don't teach. I mean, President Trump brought it up, Lady Hamilton. We spend more money than any other country and we're 40 out of 40. I mean, it makes no sense. You would think the more money you spend on something, if I'm going to spend $100,000 on a car, I'm going to get $100,000 car. Okay. If I'm going to spend $20,000 on a car, or I can go buy a Pinto. Okay. You get what you're supposed to get what you put into it. So the school board is probably, well, they're all important, but our school board is extremely important here. Extremely. Right. Look at Janet. I think it's Janet Mills in Maine, who was at the conference with President Trump, and she says, "We're still having men and women's sports." And he's like, and then she says, "We'll see you in court." He goes, "I'm looking forward to that." I mean, so the states have to get. He's not a fix-it-all. He can't come in and fix all of this. There are so many different things that are going on right now. People must be active in the local level. You can't show up on election day, and some people don't even do that and then complain about it. Okay? But it's going to school board meetings. What is happening? We have a lot going on in our school board right now. I'll share this with you. With everything that's gone on in the last few years, our board of supervisors years ago planned out, based on 1980 or 85 numbers, what it would cost to have a school here now. So we're getting another high school. Now, who pays for the high school on the local level? We do.
We do. Okay? Even if they get a grant, let me just tell you that. Even if they get a grant, guys, that is still taxpayer funded. Just let you know. But go ahead, Dana.
But it's the architectural drawings alone are $8.1 million. That's for that's just the plans. Now, if things change, we can still say it'll take 4 years for this school to happen, but things could change. We may not need the school. If we push things back to the states, there are so many different options right now. If the money starts to follow the kid, okay, then that changes things. Okay, then they go to your school, who I would send anybody in the world to you. I'm serious.
Right, and then I'm glad you brought that up. Right, because this also shows you how important the governor is, because they are doing this where the Department of Education is saying that the money will follow the kid. I have looked into this in my own state. As of right now, I do not see that. And I looked into this before. Oh yeah, we're into that. No, it's like, we're going to give you a tax break. When you file your taxes every year, we're going to give you a credit. I mean, these families can't, they're already paying taxes to the school. You think that they can go and afford this and then just get a tax credit? I'm like, most private schools, just so you know, not mine, but most private schools are anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 a year. And I mean, and I still get people who are like, "You're 7?" Well, I'm 7 because I don't have all these buildings and so forth, right, that I have to pay. I don't have 10 administrators that I have to pay. In fact, I even teach as the headmaster. Imagine that. Can you imagine your superintendents or your whatever teaching on top of it? I mean, it's like, come on, right? But no. And then I don't apply for these grants because I don't want to be tied to their craziness. So this all has to do with, I know that they're working on it, but if we do not get, like you said, if we do not have the school board that is going to say, okay, if we don't have the governors that are going to implement this, then President Trump, what's he going to do? He's going to come down to your local school. I mean, he's right now, and I'm going to share this with you guys here too, but you can turn in a school that's doing these kind of crazy things right now because the Department of Education wants to know, and they can stop their funding, but they're not 100% federal funded. And look, like you just said, in Maine, she's not only going to take them to court, but her idea is, we're going to stop paying federal taxes, on taking them from your checks, and we're just going to keep that local. That's how determined she is to make the education crazy.
Well, people have to tune in, and it's not just this. You look at it like this. And I have a lot of our friends, our Mountain Patriots, they homeschool their children. Go figure.
Yes, they
do.
Over
the last 4 years, and we're working on something right now where we can put up a small school that is handled by the moms and the dads that are here. Okay, that's one of the projects that we're working on right now, along with food and energy and everything else. But if you start looking at the school, okay, and then you start looking at the budget for the school, and then that budget has to go to where? It's got to go to the open meeting for the Board of Supervisors. Then the Board of Supervisors has to approve that school. Okay. Then you have to figure out what kind of federal funding are you going to get from the state. All right. And if the state comes in and we're not doing what they expect us to do, then they cut the funding from the state. So you have to see it from the whole picture. It's not, wow, I'm going to go to the school board. If people, this is pretty easy. If you could, I don't know, if you could save $5,000 a year working 5 hours a week, would you do it? Sure. Okay.
Right.
Extra $5,000. What does that come up to? Okay. 250 hours a year. Okay. And make $5,000. And I'm just playing with numbers here. But if people put 4 or 5 hours in a week to figure out what's actually going on, what happens is nobody, a lot of people don't do anything until it affects them personally. That's when they're looking at their tax rate. Oh, now we're paying from 51 cents up to 61 cents on every $100 for your house or for your car or for whatever. So it's all linked together. But we do need people that are interested in doing different segments, which is how Mountain Patriots is set up. We each do different segments. So somebody works on school board, somebody works on Board of Supervisors, somebody works with delegate, somebody works with sheriff, which is our next conference. Okay.
Yes.
And one of the saddest things, and I'm as guilty of it, so I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. I thought you voted for somebody that was good and they made these promises and I'm a conservative and they're going to do the job. No, they're not. They're bought off. Somewhere or another, they're probably paid for all the way down the line.
That's the saddest thing. And we see this. Right. We see this in our Senate, and our House of Representatives, everyone. We call them rhinos, right?
Yep.
But this is right. And what is the difference is in your community, the chances, well, I'm from a small town, right? The chances your sheriff, your mayor, the members of your school board, the members of your Board of Supervisors. I mean, you have a better chance of actually physically knowing these people who literally affect your life the most and first and foremost. So, I mean, that's another reason to get active. And I'm not the greatest here, too. I mean, we're not here to point fingers, guys. We're just trying to hear.
We had to learn.
Give you guys ideas, right? And get you guys, inspired to be active and pay attention, do your research, all these things we can do. But maybe, and I always joke about this, too, maybe you go to a Board of Supervisors meeting and then go out on a date afterwards or have some drinks before you go and then go to, make a night of it, make a date night, whatever you might do. I've seen people that are now
need a few drinks at the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, you do. I've seen out there on X that some families or some people are going to these school board meetings, and when they do the budget, they're actually asking questions like, "Why is there this many millions going to this? Why?" Just even asking, they're doing their own little doge, right? I'm like, awesome.
You have
start making them be accountable. Well, this many millions goes to our superintendent. Well, why? Why did they get paid this much money or whatever? Right? Why is that not going down to the education? What is the education you're teaching our kids? What's the curriculum? What's the books? Make them answer that. They work for you, not the other way around, right? Yep. So, and then maybe go and have some drinks afterwards.
And sometimes you feel like you need to. I'm telling you. But you have to be plugged in. And you hearing something. Do you remember the game telephone line? I tell you something, you tell somebody else something. That's how politics works, which is absolutely ridiculous. You've got to go hear that person on the telephone, go take a look at what they're actually doing. What kind of background do they really have? Where is your money going? Okay. In some respects, you feel like I might as well just throw $20 bills out the window. Okay, if that's what you want to do, fantastic. But it all ties together. If we don't do something right now in our own board of supervisors and in our own school board and with our delegates and knowing what they're doing and what your sheriff is doing, especially with the immigration policies that are coming right now. Okay, where is ICE? Okay, being a prepper group, we think about these kind of things. But if you don't pay attention to what's going on, you think the last few years of exposure that has come out that we expected it because we paid attention to it. But people's heads are spinning right now saying, how did that get past me? That's because Family Guy and The Simpsons and a few other things on television were a lot more interesting than what my kid is into. Okay.
Right.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Right.
But
it is a shame.
It's not hard.
Right. And see, and guys, this is another reason why sharing this is so important, because there are so many people that, I'm not saying they're bad or good or whatever, but they're just not plugged in like a lot of my viewers are right now. I know you guys are, and I'm proud of what you're doing, but there are so many more that are like, I'm sorry, we've just spent how much? I mean, they're just like waking up to the matrix right now going, I'm sorry, what? And the fact that this is even coming out on mainstream media, whether you like Elon or not, the fact that they're showing how much money is being manipulated and stolen, they're like, I'm sorry, what? Right? This might be the first time they're hearing it. Remember, the mainstream media is so the enemy. They don't want any of this to get out.
And they're disappearing.
That's right, and disappearing. But this is
they're disappearing because they've been caught.
That's right.
What we've been saying. I'll say it this way. I'll have to back up.
Okay.
My first vote was Ronald Reagan. Okay, and then I went through Bush and everybody else. But 9/11 woke me up, and I thought something was wrong then. I couldn't put my finger on it or how it was working. I got out into business for myself. I opened up my own business when I was 24, ran that for 18 years. So I started understanding the tax system and accounting and everything else. And it didn't take me long to look at it and say, there's something wrong. I'm bringing this in, I'm paying this out, but I'm not seeing anything on this side for it. And why do I have to fill out these forms and those forms? And it just got more and more and more bloated. It just got more and more bloated. Then COVID happened. Okay. And that's what really woke a lot of people up, or you would hope woke a lot of people up.
Well, it sure did on this side. I always say that COVID was such a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing.
Right? I mean, I'm not saying the disease itself, but right. The situation they put us all in.
Your kid wasn't earning.
Right. But how many of you started watching podcasts? How many of you started seeing what your kids were doing? How many of you were like on the computers way more than you would be if you actually got to go to work and do your job, Right. No. So we're like all plugged in. Well, one way or another, we're all plugged in. A lot of us on this side, and we're like, I'm sorry. So yes. And then, God's like, we are ripping the Band-Aid off.
Right. Well, the news told me that everything is fake, that we're going to die from this. And I mean, we could go into all of I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not, never have been, but I am a conspiracy analyst. All right. So I take a look at everything, and there are a lot of things that aren't true, but most of what we're seeing is basic common sense. It's basic common sense. I have to share this with you also. Okay. Before COVID started, I was working with a company, and HR department puts out things that you have to know and learn. And all of a sudden I had to do this. I guess it was probably should have taken an hour to go through this program and answer the questions right. Okay. Well, it was on DEI. Okay. It's basically what it is. And I sat there. I'll never forget. I was sitting in Charleston, West Virginia, in a hotel room, and I figured, well, I'm down here. I'm going to knock this out. It's not due till next week, but why not do it? And I couldn't pass the test. Everything that was common sense to me that I grew up with, I couldn't pass the test. And then I had to sit back, Lady Hamilton, and say, okay, the answer to that question in order to pass this test is this. And then it would
Right.
change the questions. And I thought,
Right.
this is absolutely insane. So if
Right.
they're doing this to me, and I'm in my 50s, if they're doing this to me, and I'm a critical thinker, what can they do to the kids at the same time? Because they don't know. They're only going by what we tell them.
Right.
This is
Exactly.
the way it is. The sky's orange. No, it's not. It's blue. It's orange. I told you it was orange. It's on the news.
Right. Exactly. You know, and that's why they start so young. I mean, every once in a while, you guys, I shouldn't say just for fun, but I guess for fun, because you guys, I want to be very aware of what's going on in my community. So even sometimes I'll apply for a job just to see how far down it goes. And I went to a preschool, to our Head Start programs, and, you know, and they're, absolutely wonderful. But I knew how to answer a lot of their questions. Right. And so when they came back to hire me, I was like, so I want to know the curriculum, because they wouldn't answer that on the interview. But once they said, okay, we'll give you the job, I go, so what is the curriculum? I mean, when do we start teaching these kids about, you know, their pronouns, themselves, their expressions or whatever? Oh, they go right away. We start letting them choose their pronouns. I was like, oh my God, at 3 years old? 3 years old. So I knew already, because you guys know I have a second grade, well, she's not second grade anymore, but you know, I got a second grader because they started on her in kindergarten. But I'm like, is this starting at K-12? Oh no, Head Start at 3. I was like, wow. And so easy to manipulate these children's minds. But to your story, even to apply for a job or even to apply for college, you have to write a statement of diversity. Right. The statement of diversity. And you're like, what? And, you know, I'm in over here like, okay, let's celebrate cultures. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. You know, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait for all
I didn't know what any of this was. I didn't know what any of this was when I was growing up. I didn't, you know.
Right.
And what caught us is last week, I grew up in Maryland, okay? I grew up in Maryland, the socialist state of Maryland, and it was terrible. And we moved here to Virginia because it was terrible. I mean, my son went to a private school. Now, back in 2003, it was $11,000 a year. Okay. But I didn't want him in public school. I didn't go to public school. I went to a private school, and we just followed the path. But here we are in Maryland, and what's on the docket right now that they're fighting for, and this is sad. They want to put condoms in the bathrooms for kindergartners.
That's right.
Condoms in the bathroom for kindergartners. And but you know, that the Republican side is willing to give a little. Let's work here together. And we can see that in high schools. We didn't have condoms in the bathroom at high school.
Right.
We were taught abstinence. If you can't, just you can ruin your life. Okay. You can ruin your life if you just don't pay attention, and everything is promoted. So, I mean, that's just part of the school part.
You know, and what gets me outraged about that too is having, okay, let's say the condoms in the elementary schools, right? I'm like, is that for the children, or what's happening there? Because I also follow, and they always say this too. They're like, this account shouldn't exist, but on X is school predators. And I'm like, so what's happening to how safe are our children? I hate to put that view in there, but you know,
they're not safe.
Instead of spending all that money on literacy, we're putting in condoms. And I'm like, so because you know that there's no 5-year-old that needs a condom, so who needs them? That's the terrifying thought.
A condom to a 5-year-old is a balloon.
Right. Exactly.
But see,
and it's just
that can start
scary.
Right there. That can start it right there. We already know that there's predators out there. There's a lot happening here in Frederick County. I won't go down the rabbit hole too far, but there have been teachers that have been taken out. We have a teacher that was a substitute teacher that became a teacher. I think it's for second grade, that wears skirts and dresses to school, and the school board turns around and says, "Well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it because it's discrimination and the ADA laws and all these other." And I'm thinking, and if we don't follow these rules, then we lose our funding from Richmond down in Richmond. So when you put all this together, we can go into schools, but then you have to go to the Board of Supervisors because they're the next step in what's going on. Then
and
from
let
that
me pause
point,
right
you've got
there.
to go to your legislature. You know, the state of Virginia, I think we're 51-49 right now when it comes to our delegates here in Virginia. And there's a real uphill battle. And now we have the governor's race, the governor, lieutenant governor, and people are they're flipping a coin right now on our candidates.
That's right. But I want you to back up here too.
Who's going to be
because
best?
Let's talk about Board of Supervisors. How many out there even know, and we can pull it up by your county because I think we should do that, but tell everybody, do you guys even know what your Board of Supervisors do? And Dana's going to tell us why I'm looking up. What is your county, Dana? Is it Winchester County?
We're in Frederick County. We're going to cover a lot of this at the next conference because people don't know. You know,
so tell everybody.
This is how we're doing it. And you've been to a Wake Up Winchester, and they've been very, very successful. We've covered the last time we were covering education, and we had the Liberty Man, in 1776 colonial garb that taught us all about the appeal to heaven, the American flag, and that was the original flag. Then that went into education in Civil War times, which was really neat, and how they did it that way. And then in today's modern education. So that was the last time, and everybody was in period costume, and it was a lot of fun. People learned a lot. We covered child trafficking. We cover a lot of different things. But I was looking at, when we were doing our meetings, we've been covering recently the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th Amendment. Because you get pulled over by a police officer, you got to know what to do, what to say, because there's just so many crazy things that are being pulled on us. But I looked at all of our elected officials, and I started asking questions, because we have all of our elected officials come to our Mountain Patriot meetings. We have anybody who ran for Senate come. We had anybody who ran for Congress come. We had all the Board of Supervisors. Anybody that was going to run came, and they visited with Mountain Patriots. So this is what we're going to do. We have the Commissioner of the Revenue that's going to do a presentation on what does the Commissioner of the Revenue do? Because we just got through taxes in December. Well, nobody knows that they can appeal their assessment. Nobody's ever told you that. It's like, I'm the Commissioner of the Revenue. I'm gonna make sure that I collect this money. Our Commissioner of the Revenue makes sure that people understand what the Commissioner of the Revenue actually does. I don't make these taxes. My job is to make sure that everything gets paid and the books are correct and everything else. And I thought, wow. So she was fantastic. And I thought, well, how many people really know what she does? And I thought, well, how about the clerk of court? What does the clerk of the court do? Do they hand out CCW licenses? They hand out marriage licenses? What do they do? Well, what does the delegate really do? I'm going down there, going to fight about the Second Amendment. Well, what else do you do? Not only what do you do, if you explain to us what you do, then we can help you on our side be able to do the research so that when you go to Richmond, it's not you and a staffer trying to figure out how to fight what's happening there. So what does the delegate do? The next would be the county attorney. We have a county attorney. I see him all the time at the gym. Great guy. And I said, would you do me a favor? And I said, how many people really know what you do? And he says, I don't know. I said, would you do us a favor? Would you do a presentation on what is the duties of the county attorney and how can the community help you? Then there's Board of Supervisors. What does the Board of Supervisors do? What does the school board do? So we have the sheriff. It's funny because some people said the sheriff won't come, and I said, sure he will. And I said,
they're elected. They'll come.
And he said, Dana, I'll be glad to. I was like, oh, Sheriff, you don't know how much I appreciate this. It's no problem, because in your community, and most people really need to know this, the sheriff is your elected official. He is one of the people. But people don't understand how the process works. They don't understand what the Constitution is. They don't understand what the Bill of Rights is. They don't understand what people do. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have each one of them explain how they fit into our community here. And that way, when election time comes, we'll be able to go back and vet and look at all of the bills. We're on this website a lot. We're on this website.
Well, I wanted to show everybody this.
On the election integrity, we're on
this here, everyone. You can all go to your own county and look this up, but I can't tell you how many people are elected. You have at least over 75. I don't know if you want to run for something. I don't know if you want to go to any of their meetings, but I can guarantee you half of these departments are all elected officials. You may know that. You may not know that. From the board of supervisors to your budget, to your inspectors, your attorneys, your revenue, your administrations, your attorney. We said that already. You have your health department. You have your fire chief is elected. Your sheriff is elected. Your parks and recreation are elected. Your school boards are elected. Your treasurer is elected. Your mayors are elected. All of these people are elected. Do you know that?
That's another one that'll be there. You know, I'm looking at this chart, and I'm going to just go down this with you, okay? And just a couple of them. School board. We worked on school board. You're going to see Shawnee Land Sanitary District. Boy, do we have a problem there. So we have two people. Well, one of them just passed away, but we have people that are on our own little Shawnee Land Sanitary District. It meets once a month on a Monday night. You can't put in 3 hours once a month and report back to us what's going on in the district. We've got the sheriff's office. We're starting to work with them. Social services, we plug into that because we're very, very concerned about what's going on with human trafficking, child trafficking. And a lot of these offices fit into this stuff. The treasurer, let's see.
Are you spending our money? Right.
There's a few people that work with us, right? Planning and development. We have people that are part of Mountain Patriots that are on the planning committee. So we get ideas of what's going on before it happens. Okay. Information technology. We hear a lot about that with the, what are they called? The data centers. That's going to be a big thing with President Trump talking right now about AI. Okay. And data centers and where they can go. People don't realize also the health aspects of what these data centers do. Okay. Your agriculture. We try to hook together with the homesteaders. Okay. So that we're looking at clean food, clean water, a smooth run government. But it takes a little bit of effort. Just a little bit of effort can save so many headaches for you and for so many other people.
Right.
And when you have almost 100,000 people in Frederick County, you said there's about 75 of these here. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yes. That are all elected.
Election integrity. Almost every one of the Mountain Patriots has been through an election integrity and worked as a poll watcher or as an officer of elections.
Right.
Okay.
And so there's things here too that we got to pay attention to because you don't know when, or maybe you need to know when these guys are running in your county. Because if you want to have MAHA, you guys know how much I am so on board for that, right? Where's your agriculture people? Are they on board with this program? What about your Office of Elections? You know how President Trump is screaming about 1 day paper ballots? That's your department right there, your Office of Elections, right?
It's coming. If it's done right, we can take the entire country back.
Right.
But here's the sad thing. Why go through all of this stuff with President Trump? They put him through everything. Okay. And there's a lot of people that didn't like him that are now scratching their heads going, oh my gosh, we've been lied to forever.
That's right.
We've been lied to forever. Everything they told us was fake, phony, false. And now those people are going, holy cow, we might be able to do something. Well, if Trump's going to work it from the top down, this is the time, because if we don't do it now, it will revert right back to the way it was. It's like pulling the rubber band. Okay. Yep. Eventually you let it go, snap. Okay. So now is the time. The next 2 or 3 years are pivotal
Right.
for everything. Our kids, how are they going to live? Are they going to live in 15-minute cities? Are they going to be part of the Internet of Things where they're hooked to the internet? Are they going to be looking at their phones and not be able to have any critical thinking?
And they're already basically there, guys. I mean, that's why they don't want them to read. Right. Because if they can't even read, then they're not going to read the articles. They're just going to sit there and flip through and watch the videos and be told a narrative and believe it. And one thing I see right now, we already see the ones that are already complaining and moaning and groaning and want to fight President Trump. Well, we've got midterms, at least, if nothing else. We got midterms coming up. And do we want to see a major, whatever you guys want to call it out there? I'm not going to say there's a cheat, but there's always possibilities, right? It's going to be crooked as hell. Next election.
There's no question.
There's no question. If this stuff is not cemented in somehow, and that's our effort, cemented in through our states and our counties, then somebody's going to flip it and just be like, hey, let's wipe this all away. We hated that guy. See, he was a Nazi, whatever they want to call him, and we got to take this back, right? Get our democracy back.
Well, I'll share this with you. And we're starting to see it as things start to trickle down. We're starting to find out people are going to soon find out where all of this money is coming from. It's coming from the taxpayers. Right. We're actually funding our own demise. Yes. So they are, and there's no secret to you, they are been trafficking children forever. The stories that I don't even want to go into depth on that. It is just absolutely absurd and the most satanic stuff you can possibly deal with. But then you've got Epstein that they're arguing about right now. And I get Epstein right now and the fact that they're not.
Our media is so corrupt that they don't even want to talk about. Right. They don't want to talk about this.
Well, the neat thing is, and a lot of people are really upset about the Epstein thing about not dropping. No, we're trying to find out who inside the FBI and the CIA and so forth is part of that. So there's your fishing pole. We threw the hook in. Okay, now we need some information. Here's 200 pages. No, now we got them. Now let's find out who's rotten to the core. And when this goes back to your elected officials. You've got to make sure that these people are on the up and up. And we're draining. When President Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, he is draining the swamp. Okay. Right. You know all about Child Protective Services. You know about the school board. And I sincerely think that just from my experience and all the research, all of this stuff has been set up so that we can find out exactly who those people are. So that we can get to real voting, so that we can vet the right candidates, so that we do have your neighbor down the street who's not afraid to go out there and try to run because they won't get their butt kicked, Right. So there's a lot more to this. And the only way to take America back is locally. See, I had the advantage or the opportunity of one of the best times in my life ever. With my one of my best friends, my buddy Jamie, and my wife Barbara, we got a chance to go to Clay Clark's Reawaken tour in Myrtle Beach, where we heard every speaker about everything from the COVID vaccine, which all of this stuff was set up for us to fail. I mean, all of it has been set up for us to comply. And General Flynn was there, and he said, "It's really great that you all are here for a few days, but if you don't go home and do something locally, this is all for naught."
Right.
So we were driving back an 11-hour trip on the way back, and I already had my notepad out saying, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And that's where we started our little neighborhood. Let's see what we can do in our own neighborhood. And it grew to, there's probably 75, 80 of us. And that has gone into Loudoun County. And we've hooked up with them. So now they have people that know election integrity down in Loudoun County. We have our own election integrity person. Okay. And I know you've met our guy, my buddy Rodney. He's fantastic. Right. But if you get involved a little bit on what's going on, folks, here's your chance. Here's your chance to lower taxes, have a nice, clean environment, watch inflation go away, get rid of most of the criminals. It's the pendulum. It swung one way, nearly killed us, and it's swinging back the other way. We don't want it to swing too far. Okay?
Right.
We don't want it to swing too far. We want it to swing far enough that this country is back on track.
That's right. And we've got to also be prepared because, like a pendulum, is it going to go back the other way?
Absolutely.
And again,
always does.
I cannot. Right, it does, guys, and it's just terrifying to know that if we don't have these laws and mandates or whatever you guys want to call them, I mean, especially Title IX, that's your DEI. That law needs to be burnt. I swear to you, just get rid of just get rid of it. It's not just a manipulation. And I know that we focus on the sports thing. It is so much more than that. So let's say your school's like, okay, I'm going to comply and we're not going to have the boys in the, the girls' sports. And basically that's kind of what they're focusing on. And it is a start. Don't get me wrong. But what's in the curriculum? Are they allowing the kids to still say pronouns? Are they going to have those books? Because my second grader came to me, and the reason she did is because she learned this book in kindergarten, and it was in the teacher's classroom. Are we going to, right? I mean, it's so bad. I mean, is the teacher, because a lot of times, guys, I was a teacher. I still am a teacher, but I was a teacher for the public school. We write our own lesson plans. They check it off and go, okay, yeah, you're good. But we had to write our lesson plans through an SEL CRT lens. Is that going to continue?
CRT, unbelievable.
Right. Is that going to continue? And do the teachers have the ability to, I mean, even teaching at high school, I mean, the kids did not know necessarily who I was going to vote for. And when I was in high school, we did the 2020 election. I tried to show both sides, and, it was a big deal. And we did beautiful artwork with it. Right, but they didn't know who I was voting for. It's none of their business. It's like, you don't know what religion I am. It's not my business. You don't know who I'm married to or who I love. It's none of your business. I keep that at at home. But there are many, many teachers that, I mean, they were all over through that high school talking about who they vote for and whatever and influencing these kids. That's the kind of crap that has to stop.
Yes.
Right? And maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you got grandbabies, maybe whatever. But think about your future.
Every child matters.
Right. This is where I get selfish. These young kids are going to be running the world soon. They can't read, and they're all whacked out and indoctrinated. And that's who's going to be in charge of you when you're old. Like, Lord help us.
Can you imagine a kid that couldn't read being a doctor?
Right. And they're dependent completely on AI.
Scary enough.
Right. And we're seeing this in the colleges we see this in the colleges where AI is writing their papers. Yes. They're not even writing and researching their own papers. And this is your next level of healthcare or whatever. I mean, that might be a little too far-fetched because the tests are pretty...
little Chat GPT, a little Grok, or a little...
Exactly.
The next 3 years is going to be very pivotal when it comes to AI. It's going to be. And I hate to say it like this. Americans have become very lazy because everything has been given to us. And even the poorest of poor people around here probably have it better off than most people in the entire world.
Right.
But if I've got, a lot of people have the opportunity of reading a book and going and doing the research, or looking it up and saying, okay, what is this, and how does it all work together, and write me a paper. I'm doing it that way.
Right.
I mean, well, it saved me time. You didn't learn anything. Months of research.
I mean, just look at my paintings behind me, everyone. You know that it takes me months of research just to even, because these are historical pieces, right?
Gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. But for me, and I'm researching everywhere to make sure that what I'm telling in this portrait or what I'm telling you in a paper is true. These kids don't care. They just want to go with the narrative. The teacher, most of the time, the teacher says, hey, you have to reference this, and this book. So you can plug that into AI as well and say, hey, write me a paper on this topic. Make sure you reference, and quote some of these books. You can plug it all in and boom, it's done. You're like, oh my gosh, it's that bad. Right. And continuing with, we're not going to teach them how to read. And we're talking a lot about education, you guys, but it's so important for our youth to be able to have critical minds, to know that the wool is being pulled over their eyes just as much as we need to know that as well, too. And like I said, I'm going to share with you guys at the end of this, where I love what they're doing federally. Like, hey, turn in your school, turn in your teacher. That exists now, which thank you, God. Right. But right there. I mean, I just love what Linda McMahon is doing. She's doing some great things.
Linda McMahon. I love it.
Right.
I'll share this with you, Lady Hamilton.
Hey,
Okay,
do.
we have what called SMART goals. Okay,
nice.
We're not playing around with this thing. Okay, we were originally Mountain Patriots. We're now Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries. This is a spiritual. This is a Christian organization. So nice. Our number one goal is our education ministry. Now, you were talking about educating people. Number one is to restore cultural values. Number two, educate students and adults.
Mm-hmm.
And adults. You're sending your kid to school and have absolutely no idea. Most people have no idea. A lot of people don't even know who the school teachers are. Okay. I talk to younger folks, that work at stores and so forth, and I'll say, our kids are from school today. Okay, what grade are they in? Third grade. What are they learning? I don't know, but they brought some homework home, and my daughter isn't going to, do this or that or the other. And I'm thinking, did you get? And I'll ask questions. Do you go to school board meetings? Nah, I don't have time for that. Oh, okay. So you're going to leave, So then we have re-educate the teachers and the staff. So now we're looking for good teachers that can help us here in Frederick County to teach the staff. Okay, we need a good staff. It's not just the teachers in there. What are the other things that are going on in the school system? Especially if you want to spend $140-something million on a school. Okay, build the correct curricula for all ages. So we're going to be doing adult education for Mountain Patriots. We do this on Monday nights. That's why we did the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment last week. Right. People didn't understand what the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th Amendment was. All right. Our guys do, but we had a great guy. Our friend Kent did a phenomenal job. Okay. We should have had 2 presentations last week. We had one because his was so daggone good. But that's the kind of stuff that we're doing.
So important.
Schools require public community. I can't see in the dark. Community approval. Community approval. We want to see the curriculum. Okay. How much is that book going to cost? What's that?
Right. And you have every right to, everybody. Your money's paying for this. You should have every right to see. I agree. Go ahead.
But we want to see the curriculum. And I think when Doge is finished, and we've got till next July, but when Doge is finished, we're not going to be spending $20 on a screw for an F-16,
Right.
So there's a lot of money that's going to be coming back. And I just see this is such a positive. If we're going to quit wasting with the waste, the fraud, and the abuse of money that's just being thrown out or stolen, because that's going to come out. Most of this money is stolen. If you steal the diamonds, what do you have to do if you get caught? You got to give the diamonds back. Okay.
Right.
So that money comes back, and people from the ground up are actually paying attention. What kind of an education system could we have? What kind of a park system could we have? What kind of an athletic program could we have? What kind of a theater program could we have? How about an art program we can have? President Trump's putting art back out there again. He's putting statues back out there. You've got the traditional all-American baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet that could come back into this country that people so... If a lot of these younger folks saw what we got a chance to live in the 60s and 70s, they'd want to go there.
Right. I agree.
But even then we were being ripped off. So if this can be fixed, okay, but it's going to take top down. And I'm going to just say it like this to all your listeners: when you're done, go look at your county and figure out which one of those things on that chart that you might be able to put an hour or so into every week. Even if it's just saying, I'm going to look at the curriculum at school. Oh my gosh, this is something Lady Hamilton could talk about, and send it to her. Send it to us. We'll run with it.
Right. That's a great point. It's a
We're
really
all in
great
this
point.
together.
You
We
guys kind
share
of be a little
information.
bit right. Be a little bit of investigators for me, and I will share it out. Or I,
Exactly.
with Dana, you guys, he's like, I'm having a conference. So I drive up there and I go. I'm like, yeah, let's
You
bring the
come
awareness
here.
to the people. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
You
do.
do. You've been
And
here.
I have no problem doing that, whether it's by Zoom or whatever, because I have no problem talking and bringing the truth and the the law to the light. And it's more than just even the education, because again, I mean, and it maybe here's something I also do, everyone. Your congressman should be approachable. And so every year,
He is.
I mean, I get on their newsletters, and that's something number one I do. Number two is like I call the office going, I want to meet. When are they back home for whatever their meet and greet times? Usually it's August because they're off the whole month in DC, right? And they're supposed to be back home meeting and doing local things. I know that. So guess what? I'd like to meet with you, Congressman. What day in August can I meet with you?
Yep.
What do you want to talk about? I'll look at that newsletter and I'll pick three different things and be like, all right, right now in Virginia, our electric bills went through the freaking roof.
Oh my gosh, did they?
Right? Quadrupled. That's one. Here's another one. What do you do about
education? It doubled.
Right.
Along
Unbelievable.
With your car insurance and homeowners.
Right. So this is kind of things that, that affect us personally, your electric, your property taxes, your whatever. So you absolutely have the right to go and meet with your congressman, bring awareness to it, or at least email them, have conversations, let them know I'm aware. I just read your newsletter and call them out on it. You said this, this, and this, and I've not seen it because it affects you immediately. Right. They're supposed to work for you. So that's one thing you guys can do.
And share it in the newspaper.
Right.
Put it in the newspaper. But you hit on something. When Mountain Patriots did our last, we couldn't do a meeting in October at our little clubhouse. So somebody was nice enough to let us use the fire hall, which was really neat. Well, people started coming from Loudoun County because we were working with them on this election integrity project down in Loudoun County. So folks came up from Loudoun County. So all of a sudden we're working with people from Loudoun County, Shenandoah County, Clark County, Page County, okay, Frederick County, and you got Chesterfield, okay, and you've got 5 or 6 counties, and we're able to share information. There's a group that's all over Virginia, and I get information from them. Then, of course, I have my buddy. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of my greatest friends, Pastor Jack Stagman of Taking America Back. Okay.
Right, he's on my show, guys.
He's fantastic. But we're trying to hook all of these people together, doctors, lawyers, professionals. And there's a lot of people like myself. We stopped working in 2020. We stopped working. There is no income. Okay. It was like, wait a minute. We either make it through this and we're going to be great, or we don't make it through this and we're dead. So I think I can put in a few years to make sure that this country, which has given so much to us, this country has given so much to us. We're God and country people. We bleed red, white, and blue. Okay. Right. But we're going to put everything we can into this. And there are days that Barbara and I will sit back and go, oh my gosh, what did we get into? This is a 75-hour-a-week job to do it. But if we can do that, anybody can put a couple hours in and then start talking to other people. It's funny because a lot of the people that could not stand President Trump, okay, now he's elected. He's been in there about 40 days, okay, literally. And they're seeing things happen and they're scratching their head going, oh my gosh, I did not know this, and this. And what's really neat is the newscasters that were out there blasting all the fake stuff are gone.
Right.
Most of them are gone.
They're definitely getting out, right? They are being fired. They're let go. They're canceled. You name it. Hallelujah.
They're gone because it's fake news. And what's great is it gives people like you.
Oh, we lost him. Gives people like me an avenue to be seen more. I think that's what he was going to say. He'll pop right back in. But as we're waiting here, you guys, and maybe you don't have some time to do something every week, you can send an email right? You can maybe go once a month, because usually these board of supervisors or your school board or whatever, and you can pick one. Nobody says you have to go to every single one. That's why I showed you that county page, and we can look at that again. Find something you're passionate about, and they usually hold a monthly meeting. Just even showing up, even if you don't speak, they'll be like, okay, people are showing up. Wait, what's going on here? And bring a clipboard with you. Just that freaks them out so much. I've gone to some of these meetings too, and we take little notebooks and stuff with them. They're like, what are they writing down? Just kind of find your passion. All right, he's back. Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's what happens when your arms flail and you get all excited and you hit the wrong buttons. Barbara, she's funny. She says, Dana, don't lead to the sides and quit flailing your arms.
I'm a talker with my hands too, though, guys. I really am.
If you cut my hands off, I couldn't talk. But
that's right.
If we can put in a little bit of time, and all the time that you put in, and I know your story. You and I have had incredible conversations on this, and we've gotten to know each other really well. Yeah. But it's guys, it's not hard. Share information with people, and a lot of the people that were out there before that were scared to death to say anything are now willing to talk, willing to show up, willing to. They know that the majority of the people now in this country they're behind this. I mean, they're Democrats. 55, I think it's 55% of the Democrats are behind this, and I'm not picking on political party. I'm not going to say it's all Democrats. It's Republicans too. They're all in the middle of this money laundering, incredibly insane. Trafficking and CPS, and you're like, really?
At every angle, right?
From every angle, people that you wouldn't expect.
Right. Somebody posted this on X too. They said there's 500, and was it 525? I don't know how many there are in with Senate and the House. There's like 525 total people, right? And it took Elon a week to expose more in 1 week than all these 500. They don't want themselves exposed. That's why they're screaming. But it's like, what are you guys doing? You're doing inquiries, heavy written, letters and whatever, and they're doing nothing. They're not exposing anything. This is what they should have been doing. And here comes Elon in a matter of a few days, and he's like, boom, here's this, here's that, and everyone's like, what?
Because they'll get caught. They'll get caught and they'll get locked up. And what people don't realize is the inventor, the person who literally put in, it's now called Doge, put in that system was Obama.
Right.
So they put this system in, okay, wasn't going to be used for this, okay, but now you have an opportunity to take the technology that we have and break things down, and they don't want, most of these politicians do not want anybody looking at it because they're part of it in one way, shape, or form. They're just part of it. And this is going to be kind of blunt. If I was a politician and I got put into a situation that could have compromised myself or my family, Barbara knows me well enough that I would say, you know what? I really messed up, man. And it's going to come up. It would come out sooner or later anyway. Right. So I might as well. That way I can sleep at night. Okay. I'm not God's gift to anybody, but I can't sleep with a bad conscience. But a lot of these folks are like, oh my gosh, this could ruin my career and this and everything else. So, all right, now I'll go along with it. Well, now you went along with this. So now you got to go along with this and this and this and this and this. And it keeps going, and they're stuck. And I could go down a whole list. This is why this Epstein list, and I'm telling you, people are one of the greatest things happening right now, because these folks that we know what the Epstein list is. Come on. Okay. We want the videos and everything else, but by Bondi and Cash doing what they're doing, they get to expose the people who aren't doing the right job anyway. So now we can flush them out. It might take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and people are banging their fists on the table. I'm thinking, it took them 100 and something years to put us in this position. It's going to take a few weeks or a few months or a
Right.
few years to get us back out. Let them expose themselves. Let them do it. Keep asking the questions because they'll do it. Okay. A liar and a narcissist always, how is it? A dog always goes back to its vomit.
That's right. You know, I'm glad you brought this up too, because if they're going to actually hold anybody accountable and bring charges, the moment they put their names out there publicly, they can be sued, and you can't bring charges like that. You know, I mean, we all know the flight logs, or I should say a lot of us know the flight logs, not everybody, right? That's still news to people. But the Gates and the Fauci, not Fauci, but the Gates and the Clintons and the whatever, right? We've seen this. It's been going around, you know, social medias for a long time.
Years.
But how do you know if your local senator is involved? We don't.
Exactly.
And so for them to bring charges against these people, they can't just go, here's their names, right? They have to build their case, and they have to do that. That's going to take them a little bit longer than day one. And I know that we're all expecting that, but I would rather see, you know, a month from now, okay, we've just arrested about 50 of these people. Now let's release their names, you know, because think about Diddy being arrested, right? How long was he investigated before they took him in, right? Yeah. Right. So we kind of have to have some patience with this, guys, and know that they're working on them. We can still ask questions. Like, I'd like to see Pam Bondi say, yes, put that out there on X. Yes, I finally got all of the pages I needed. I finally got all the information. Don't tell us, but let us know. And we are bringing the hammer down. I would much rather have that kind of transparency than some kind of whatever we saw years ago. Right?
Exactly.
Everything just speak to us and tell us what's going on. Right. Just, you know, right. Exactly. But you guys, it's going to take a while. But the same thing as we're seeing things filter and change. You know, yeah, I agree. Because in the chat, you guys were talking about getting rid of all the teachers, you know, well, the crazy woke teachers and whatever that want to continue this kind of madness. Well, who are you going to replace them with? You know, because I just went to Teachers College and graduated in 2020, and this is what they're literally pumping out. Absolutely. So we've got to fix that problem there too, because you might hire new teachers, but they've just been indoctrinated at universities as well. So exactly. it's going to, right. And it's going to take a while. It's
going to replace somebody with somebody who's a little less woke than the last person that was here.
Right. And even with the new hires, you're going to have to say, this is not tolerated, or you're going to be fired. So you have to rewrite the rules and laws so that they know, hey, and policies. Right? Because I could go to almost every school right now and look up any school right now, and they're going to say, we're a Title I or a Title IX school. And they proudly display that. That's because that's where most of their funding comes from. That's also where most of the indoctrination comes from. So again, back to the Epstein files. I'm sure that there are going to be prosecutions. Right.
They have to go along with it.
Exactly.
And it takes you right back to where we started. You've got to find out what's happening on your local level, because those people will move up into those positions and those teaching positions and everything else. And you just replaced one thing with the same of another color or shape or size. It's the same thing all over again.
Right. You know? Sheriff. Let's bring up the sheriff. Your sheriff is so important. Are they going to work with ICE? Are they going to get rid of these criminals that are in our towns and our counties? Are they going to fight this kind of nonsense? And then also trafficking. Your sheriff is so important. Are you going to allow this to stop? Because I see down here where I'm in Southern Virginia, right? Well, whatever, mid Virginia, but still, I mean, there are local people that are like filming, finding them, like looking for predators, exposing them and stuff, you know, and getting great backing from sheriffs and what is really important. But are they going to just sit there and be that politician? Or are they actually, I always say, judge somebody by their actions and not their words. But if we just sit there and put our heads in the sand and be like, yeah, I know you got it. You know, worst case scenario, if they're doing something great, I said this before too, cheerlead for them. Right. Call them out on that too. Be like, great job, sheriff, whatever.
We will help you as the community. We elected you. We will help you. That goes back to our conference. We will help you. We will help you. Okay. Tell us what we need to do. You know, and there has to be a community that comes together on this stuff. And since the beginning of this, it has always been about the kids. Yes. Always been about the kids.
Right. right? I mean, and call me selfish for multiple reasons. And you guys can all call me selfish. That's fine. But I want our kids that are going to be the next leaders of tomorrow to, number one, understand the freedoms they have in this country. Send them all to someplace like I went to Cuba. Send them. I believe that all high schoolers should go on a study abroad to a place like that. You know, so they understand the freedoms they have here, though. But teach them about the Constitution. Teach them about what our forefathers and our military do to continue to give us our rights and freedoms, right? It's really important. But, you know, teach them how to read. That's a good one to start with right there. Teach them how to read. I mean, even Cuba, everyone is literate. I mean, their literacy rate in Cuba is like 98%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it may be absolutely communistic information that they're reading.
But they can read.
But they can read. So that's a huge part here too. But call me selfish again. Right. I want these guys to be good leaders so that when I'm 80, they are rocking the country that I remember, not rocking us in someplace third world dictatorship nightmare that we have been kind of living through, and it could get worse.
It's bad enough now. You know, think about, and I'll share this with you. A couple weeks back, I didn't feel good. My barber took me over to the hospital at 1:00 in the morning. I did not feel good. And I walked out of there with tests done, not knowing any more than when I went in. Now, 10 years ago, when my doctor was in practice, I could walk into his office and he knew exactly what was going on with just about. I'm sitting there going, okay, we just spent about $1,400 to come in here and sit in the waiting room, and they don't really know what's going on.
Right. Right.
But I'm not the only one. We're hearing this all over the place. That's critical. That is the health side of it. So
yes.
what do we do on the health side of it? Then we have to get into food, which you and I have talked about. Eating right, making sure. This is all one big thing, guys.
So
pick something you can be part of. You like agriculture, do it. You like kids, do it. You like the board of supervisors, do it. You want to work law enforcement, do it. You want to work elections, do it.
Okay? Right, and that's another great thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Agriculture. Send an email. If you don't want to do this in person, send an email and say, how can I help you bring great things that RFK Jr. is doing to our community and shout you out on social media or something? I don't know. Share your story. How can I help you? What are you doing in our local community? Because how are you going to clean up our soils? Are you cleaning up our air? And I've told you guys this before. I know RFK Jr. right now is all about vaccines. He is celebrating some kind of tallow, whatever. But in the meantime, it's like, I want to see the chemtrails stopped. I want our soils immediately being cleaned so that our food stops being poisoned. But maybe that means that we need to go to our local county and say, how can we help share this information? Because, hey, you're on board. Then I'll tag you in that too, because they're elected, everyone. That makes them look good. And then you can bring awareness going, okay, RFK, how can we bring your action into our local county? Right. I mean, our guy wants to. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm so passionate about that and the kids, because I almost died, everyone. I literally almost died from the chemicals and the poisoning that's going in our food. So I'm very, very passionate about that. And then saving 3 children from a trafficking situation. So I'm very, very passionate about that. But I mean, I just want to see a little bit more. And I've told you guys this too, by just even keeping in the social media and tagging, or, you know, like when you reshare something and you re-quote it, add your own little words, hashtag MAHA, whatever. I mean, whatever you guys can do, but it cannot be silent. We cannot sit there and go, okay, President Trump, you've got everything, so we're all good. Oh, you cannot do that.
And we have to watch that too. I mean, there is a really, really good cabinet. There's a really good cabinet. It was vetted very well, and but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And Barbara and I have a saying: it's question everything. I think President Trump is fantastic. I think we're going to do very well under him. But do I trust everything that's happening? No. Right. I mean, it would be naive to because there's only one that knows everything that's going on. God. And we're not him.
Right. And we just talked about this on Sunday, everyone. Faith without works is dead. He's like, here's the path.
Faith without works is dead.
Right. Here's the path. Are you going to walk on it? Because, hey, I'm giving you, somebody was it you sharing me the story? No, I think it was. Somebody was just sharing the story about, no, it was Tony, you guys. Tony was telling me the story about, this fisherman who was struggling in the ocean, and he was like, oh, no, it was a preacher, whatever. He was struggling in the ocean, and he kept saying, don't worry, God's going to come save me. God's going to save me. And here comes a boat, right? He's like, oh, no, I'm fine. God's going to save me. Then he sends in, a canoe. Oh, no, I'm good, right? And then he sends in like a rescue team. Anyways, the point is, he dies. And he goes up to heaven. He goes, God, why don't you save me? And he goes, what do you mean? I sent you a boat, a canoe, and all right, and a raft, and you denied it. So, you guys, if we have to be on the path, we have to do the work. We have to help. We have to help. And it's so important right now. And again, he's got a great cabinet, but they're going to be going through war as we're seeing this right now, too. I mean, just look at the small things, and the local people that are fighting against this. I mean, did they even know how bad? I think Cash put something out about like, okay, I knew the FBI was bad, but they are literally shredding things and going, as he's can. He goes, okay, I'm fighting fires on all kinds of, right? So, is that you?
I think that's Barbara's phone.
Time's up, everyone, I guess. No.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's Signal, and I have Signal hooked to this. So somebody called me.
Funny, right? Right. Stop talking about saving the world. We don't want to hear that.
It's funny. We stay connected. I mean, if there's a weather event, we know what's going on. We all have radios. Right. We all have prep supplies. If somebody's house, if there's a fire at somebody's house or what happens, somebody's going to be there. We had a friend of mine who we couldn't find. We went to sleep early in a cabin and we couldn't find him. His wife couldn't find him. We're out there at 11 o'clock at night going out there to try to find him in a cabin, and he was fine. But we watch what everybody's doing. We stick together as a group. But it's a lot easier if we had I don't know, 50 million people just doing a couple hours a week, just a couple hours and following up on what's going on, not just reading the posts or checking the news and saying, well, this is going to happen and Trump's going to have to do that and be an armchair quarterback. You got to get on the field. You got to get on the field. We've got to do something. And the faster that we do it, the faster we rip the Band-Aid off. We've ripped the Band-Aid off. Now it's time to heal it. But it's going to take all of us to put the hydrogen peroxide on it and nurse it and be out there doing what we need to be doing.
Right. It's a great time to celebrate. We're seeing a major change in our country. Remember, this is what we've all been praying and working for already. So it is a great time to celebrate. But I mean, maybe it doesn't start with a couple hours a week. Maybe it starts with you going to one meeting a month. Maybe it starts with an email and one meeting a month. And I promise you, once you go to that one meeting, you're going to be like, what's happening here? At least I do. I get enraged. No, and now it got so bad in my school district, right? That now you have to fill out an application and tell them what you're going to talk about, and they will or will not even approve you to speak. That is such bogus. I should have the right. I may not have the right to dominate the meeting, but I should have the right to go and speak to my public people.
I have 3 minutes and I can say anything I want under the First Amendment.
Right. Thank you very much. So now I'm emailing, our mayor. I'm emailing our governor going, this is just crap. Again, I understand there's always consequences to our speech. I'm not going to bash people. I'm not going to and they should remove you if you're literally you're full out calling and threatening people's lives. Yeah, sure. But I should go and say, I'm sorry, you're spending money where? And you've hired what? And this much money is missing or whatever we need to do. But that's going on in my own county. That's one little thing I'm trying to fight for. It's bringing back our voices. I shouldn't have to fill out an application and get approval to speak at a school board or a county board of commissioners. But it was so bad before President Trump took in, right, that they made this thing because everybody was showing up at the school board going, what's going on here? Right. So find your heel, guys. You got to fight like
hell. The guy that was in Loudoun County, the guy that got thrown out because the guy raped his daughter, and then he ended up in another school doing the same thing. Right. He's the one that got locked up. So I mean, we're taking our country back. Okay. Right. And you can either lead, as Lee Iacocca or Patton would say, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are right now. But you're right. Just if you can send it an email to your congressman or senator, we're pretty lucky. We developed relationships with our senator and our congressman and everything else. Okay. Oh, we just have. It's like, okay, here comes those Mountain, here comes Dana, here comes, Rick, here comes the Mountain Patriot guys,
right.
which is pretty cool, is pretty cool. But we'll help them with just about anything that they need and vice versa.
Right.
It's a team effort. It's our country. It's not theirs. It's not mine. It's ours. It's a we.
Right. That's right.
We have to be a team.
Elected them. That's right. We elected them. They work for us and they represent us. And it's kind of, I've had this even with a small little art group. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're posting what, and what? That's speaking for me. And I'm not cool with that. You think I'm going to let my congressman? And trust me, this is why I sign up for his newsletter. Because I'm like, you're doing what? I don't see you doing jack. Sorry. But
you got to be respectful.
Right. I mean, I don't email him back when you're not doing that, but I'm like, so I just read your newsletter and can you show me any kind of videos or whatever, or something like that you're doing, or any kind of articles or whatever that you're fighting for this? Or sometimes when they are, and they're like, I was like one of the few that worked with like MTJ to try to get this done. And we got, shouted down, but at least they tried. Right. Now it's a whole different situation because it's read all the way through. So I expect a lot better collaboration. But there's little things that you can do that add up to big, big things. And trust me, oh my gosh, X is so powerful, everyone. You see me call out my insurance company. You see me call out my electric company. You've seen me, right? I mean, I can't believe the response when we talked about just State Farm. And then, but they were all over the place, right? The California fires, the North Carolina hurricanes. And as soon as I called them out on there, I got DM'd with like, here's our CEO's email. Please stop talking about us. Basically, and then right away, we're going to come out and look at your roof. And I'm like, wow.
Don't be afraid. I mean, you're paying for it.
Right. Right.
I mean, right. We're so used to putting gas in somebody else's car and not even driving to work with them.
Right.
I mean, think about that. That's kind of what we do. We put gas in the tank and we don't even go to work with them.
Right.
I did hear something the other day that was pretty neat. And it was on one of these more left-leaning podcasts. It was just a clip. And this woman called in and she said she didn't get let go from her job. They had to send in the 5 things they'd done this week. She says, that's just a regular check. I mean, I work my little tail off here. If you can't think of 5 things, then you should not be here. If I was the president of this company, I wouldn't want people paying. And she literally took the narrative that they had about how bad it was that all these people were losing their jobs to, no, it's not fair to people like me. And you know what? I like what she said at the end. She says, if there's people that aren't doing that work, that leaves a promotion for me who's doing it. Right. So the thought process was like, yes.
Oh, I like that. I think I saw that too. I shared out what I did too last week. It's probably one of my most popular posts on X, guys. It's gotten thousands of views already and likes. I'm like, but I mean, it's like a power. I went to CPAC. I planted my podcast. Right. I run a nationwide school. I help my blind son in college, and they're and so on and so on. They're like, what? What did you do last week?
Right. And how much time did you sleep?
Right.
Oh, goodness.
No, Nurse Patrick makes sure that we get that because he wants us healthy. But right. I mean,
these
it's like all these
times.
It is. But we got to keep that excitement, but also the awareness, everyone, to say this has got to stick.
There's no telling when, and I'm just going to be very, very blunt about this. There are so many corrupt politicians and people that are the NGOs and the unelected bureaucrats that have an awful lot to lose from this. When you push somebody into a corner like that and they see that everything that they could possibly ever have is going to be stripped away from them, and you're talking about people that could do some really bad stuff.
Right.
Really bad. Well, look at North Carolina. I mean, that was intentional. I mean, that was intentional. Maui was intentional. California was intentional. Don't put anything past some of these people. If they would steal from you and lie to you, do not think that they will not try to kill you to save their own hide.
Right. And you know,
if they'll do it to kids, they're going to do it to you.
Right. And it's kind of like you said to me. I mean, if I've made a mistake and I had some like terrible exposure, like you said, you know, I'd be like, all right, get it out. You're not going to blackmail me. Get it out. Put it out there. Okay. If I lose my career, yeah, I screwed up. But I'm like, you're that messed up. No wonder they do drugs and drink, because they are that demonous. They've got so many of those stories, and they're being, you know, you're like, I don't know. I mean, whether it's money laundering or they're with the children, I mean, there's so many kind of what ifs, but you're so obviously doing something that bad that you can be blackmailed. That's a problem.
And we're not perfect. You know, all men sin and fall short of the glory of God. I mean, we all screw up. We all screw up, but my gosh, I mean, I'm sorry, but there is a scale. To me, there's a scale. You know, it's so sad. But you know, of everything that we talked about tonight, I think we've got we get people hopped up. It's time to get out there. Just join your local community. Go to a couple board meetings. Talk to your neighbors about what's going on. Be part of what's happening. Pay attention to the agriculture. Watch what's going on in your hospital system. That's another thing. When all of this stuff comes out, there's going to be a lot of people with mental health problems, because it's going to absolutely blow them away, because they were living in some panacea of beauty and nothing is wrong. And there's so many things to be involved with right now. And it's an exciting time if we do it right, and we can pull this country back together like it's never been. Black, white, Indian, Italian, French. It doesn't make a difference. We're a melting pot. It makes no difference. We're all in this together for the first time ever, really. We have an opportunity to pull everybody together onto the same side. You know, this is a one-shot deal, guys. One shot.
That's right. That's right. And it's so, I don't, maybe you're not as outgoing as I am, but I don't know, maybe you're shy, but my son and I were in DC at CPAC, and we were eating lunch at a restaurant, you know, whatever. And I just ordered this really beautiful, I guess it came out beautiful salad. I mean, it was all right. Right. It was okay. But those are my choices when I go out, guys. And the couple next to me, you know, and they're pretty loud and stuff, but the couple right next to us were like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. What is that? And I'm like, oh, well, it's a salad. And he's like, oh, what kind of, you know, but I go, this is the only thing I can eat. You know, I mean, those food chemicals basically killed me. So I'm basically stuck with salads and stuff now. And he's like, oh, right. I had heard something about we're going to make our food better again. There's my opening. Oh, right. Don't you just love RFK Jr. and him wanting to stop all this and take the soils out? And, you know, and I'm like, next thing I know, I'm having a conversation. I don't know what side they're on, but they had heard a little bit and gave me a moment to speak a little bit more. And maybe they'll take that with them. Maybe they won't.
It's just crumbs. Throw some crumbs, and people are they're getting it. They're getting it. They're really, people are getting it. People that I never thought in a million years would get it. My neighbor down the street loved Obama. And then during a snowstorm, at Christmas, she comes up here and she says, you're not going to believe this. I'm voting for Trump. I'm seeing stuff that I never thought. I've always been. And she lives in DC and comes up here on the weekends.
Right.
And she's telling me this stuff, and I'm going, and I just let her talk. I said, really? What else? And let her tell me what was going on with her bills, what she was seeing in DC, what she saw with inflation, how she thought that this was unfair. And it was some good high level stuff, but it was enough to make her go, you know what? This is ridiculous. Barbara says it was a miracle. It was seriously for this woman to flip. And then I'm working the polls because I'm a poll watcher, greeter, and everything else. And here she comes. She heard her back, and daggone it if she didn't make it down there to vote.
Right.
You know, I was ready to say, let's get the commissioner out of here. Let's get the officers of election out here so you don't have to get out of your car. She's like, no. I'm walking in there and I'm casting my, because we could have given curbside. You know, we had to walk in there and cast that vote.
Awesome.
So
All right. That's right. And there's little things. So on our last seconds here, because you guys, I mean, I'll talk to you guys a little bit after this too of ways that I could possibly help you as well too. But Dana, you've done so many great things and you continue to do great things. I'm going to show your brochure, but I want you to give people little tiny bits of inspiration and hope. And we always love to finish with inspiration while I'm loading this up. Okay, go ahead.
Just give them some inspiration and some hope, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Anybody can do this. It's your country. And what we've got coming up to you, there it is. We have we've done 8 of these, okay? And they take a lot of work. I'm not an event coordinator by any shot. I worked in the healthcare field and I love that word, compliance field for over 20 years. But we have a conference coming up on Saturday, June 28th, from 11 to 7. We've got, like we're explaining earlier, get to know what your officials do. What does the commissioner of the revenue do? What does the clerk of court do? What does your senator do? What does your attorney do? Your county attorney do? What does the sheriff do? And just what does the mayor? What does the city council do? What does the planning commission? And we're giving each one of these people about 20 minutes, and then we're going to fill in some other things with the education and what else are we doing? We're doing education. We've got the Liberty Man, and I've got some really good friends of mine named Chris and Debbie who do a bonfire.
Yeah, they do.
Patriots,
everyone.
They're favorite people. We've become so close with them, and they're going to cover a lot of the things, some higher level things that people are seeing, but really didn't know because they know quite a few people. So if you can come out, this is great. All you have to do to get a ticket is go to wakeupwinchester.com. Our Rumble channel is Mountain_Patriots. That's on Rumble, or Wake Up Winchester. And we have videos up there on just about every speaker that we've had. And hopefully it teaches some people some stuff and gets them motivated. And just so you know, all of our speakers are just like us. Everyday, ordinary people that have never gone out and been public speakers before in their lives, saying, hey, this is my story. This is what God put on my heart, and I'm bringing it to you.
That's right.
So hopefully some of your viewers come up and check us out and check out some of our videos as well. And I got to thank you for having me on.
Right, guys? I love to go speak in it and be a part of it. And it's just something, and I'm not a neighbor. It's just, that's something I was going to tell everyone later too. Maybe you don't have necessarily neighbors, but I've offered this so many times of let's have a Zoom thing. You guys can send me stories. I'm not shy about calling people out on social media or on my show. But even just being cheerleaders for each other. Oh, like you went to the school board, what'd you find out? And then laugh and have drinks together on a Zoom meeting, right? So that we can support each other. Because I know a lot of you guys, we're nationwide, and I get it. But maybe you've gone out there and you're like, well, I need to bring aware because, I know JJ just left. He's like, yeah, my people in my state, in my county, would stink. Well, let's bring some information. Let's do that, right? I mean, I know that Frosty in Maine, right? Oh my gosh, poor help Frosty in Maine. I mean, but there's so many: California, Maine, Oregon, right? Illinois. I mean, there's 7 states right now. Arizona. There's 7 states that are fighting President Trump really bad, and it's funny on what they're fighting. Department of Energy and Department of Education seem to be or immigration, right? But education seems to be the number one thing that they are fighting on. You're like, this just goes to show you how much they want to keep your kids completely
indoctrinated. Exactly right.
That's right. So we're going to support that out, Dana. We will share your links. And if they're not already in the description, they might be, but I'll double check that and make sure that they're in the comments below too. But he has got brilliant ways. And remember, this just started with a couple people. And then it grew and it grew and it grew to the point where I've seen it up to like a couple hundred people at times, especially right before the elections. So really cool what you're doing. And thank you for coming in and getting us all charged up, because that's what I needed. I'm saying it too, guys, but it helps when you got friends that are just as charged up as I am. So,
oh, you're pretty charged up, Lady Hamilton. I love talking. You and I could talk for hours.
I know,
We could
and
add
we
some rabbit
do.
holes.
That's right. Yes, we do. So,
Would you like?
it is
You want to close with a prayer?
Sure, go ahead. I would love that.
Well, we are Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries, and let's pray. Heavenly Father, first of all, thank you for this time that I've gotten a chance to spend with Lady Hamilton. We hope that we've opened up the eyes and the ears of a lot of people who don't necessarily know what's going on. We also ask you, Lord, to look after the children, to look after our elected officials, and to get people a little bit more involved in what's going on. There's so many things that are happening right now, Lord, and this is the opportunity of a lifetime. You've given it to us. You're in charge of everything that's going on. And if we're smart, Lord, we'll take advantage of it. You gave your life for us, and now it's our turn to give back to all of humanity the way we feel that you would want us to do it. So guide us, protect us, and put a hedge of protection around us, and make sure that everybody that's on here is safe tonight, and look after our families. And we ask this all in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen to that. Thank you. I will always take prayers. I love it. Thank you, Dana.
We pray. We start with the pledge, the prayer, and we sing the. It's funny. We've gotten pretty good after 3 years of singing the national anthem. We have harmony, and
you got your own little choir going on.
Every Monday night.
I love it. But that's the first and foremost, everyone. Again, faith without works is dead. The Lord's given us the path. He's opening the doors, and he expects us to get busy and get to work and love and serve one another, and that's what we're going to do. So
amen.
I appreciate you. You're welcome back anytime. You let me know. All right. And thank you for coming, like I said, and pumping up not only me, but also our audience to remind us how important it is to make sure this stuff sticks, everyone. So let's get busy together. All right. Yeah. Give a kiss to your beautiful wife for me and a hug or whatever. I know you can.
Say hello to Patrick.
That's all right. I will. All right. Bye, Dana. Thank you.
Have a very blessed night, Lady Hamilton. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Isn't that awesome? Amen, right? Oh, he is so great. Thank you, guys. I think he's so great. He's a great friend. And I met him just by doing this kind of stuff and getting involved, right? Just so wonderful to meet different people, and around different areas. He's not necessarily my physical neighbor, but, phone calls now or Zoom meetings or being a part of it and being invited to these different events. And I've said this before, too. I continue to say so. If you guys are interested in having some kind of Zoom connection where, okay, maybe it's just you and a friend that goes to a meeting, or you and your spouse go to a meeting, and then just connect and be like, okay, this is what I learned. I have no problem shouting that out and helping you guys, and even just being a support, being like, I'm so proud of you, because I see you guys in the chats talking about what you're doing, and it's so important, right? We really want to save our country, and like I said, President Trump is doing everything he possibly can federally. So let's see if we can do everything we possibly can to help support that mission and get it to our local areas, and let's all save our country together, right? We do not want to see this pendulum swing back to the nightmare we just saw, or worse, right? Right. Okay.